Welcome to my channel BornToReddit. Am I the a-hole for refusing to return a tip and telling a couple that I don't have time to play mediator? I'm a 22-year-old, female waitress at Texas Roadhouse. This is one of my 2 jobs to put myself through college. Most days are fine, but other days are a living hell. Yesterday I was assigned a table that had a husband, wife and what appeared to be a teenage daughter, maybe 17. Everything was going smooth at first and the wife ordered a margarita. The husband then tried ordering a beer. The wife instantly lost her noodles and said no. He will not have a beer. He will have a water. She then turned to him and said something along the lines of him not needing to drink because he was driving. He said no, the daughter could drive. It was childish. Anyways, he keeps telling me he wants a beer. She keeps telling me no. In this industry, situations like this are a lose/lose for waitresses. If I get him the beer, wife won't tip. If I don't get him the beer, he won't tip. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. So while they were arguing at me, I said, listen, I really don't have time to play mediator here. They went silent. I went and got both of them their alcohol. Daughter gives me an apologetic look upon my return, presumably because her mother was acting batshit crazy upon seeing me bring a beer in tow. Flash forward to after their meals. Husband has had 2 beers at this point. Wife has stopped drinking and glares at me every time I return. Wife and daughter go to the car while husband pays. Husband drops me a $40 tip on a $68 tab. I told him I couldn't accept it. He insisted. Eventually I pocketed it. Wife comes in an hour or so later demanding that I give her the $40 her husband gave me, stating that I was a terrible host and went against her, and I don't deserve a tip. She got my manager involved, who said she is not obligated to give you her tip. You left the restaurant and the tip has already been processed. Have a nice night. She was fuming, screaming at me about how much of an I was for supplying her husband alcohol after she said no. Other guests started chiming in saying that she was being ignorant, and that I was doing my job, which is to provide guests with what they want, and said that it wasn't my fault that she was a controlling wife. She storms out. Given the fact that I was put on the spot like that, I feel insanely guilty. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole in my opinion. Manager has your back, which is good, and the other customers as well. Really, she's pissed at her husband, not you. Edit. I think some people are reading this as if I think the wife is a harpy and drinking and driving is fine. I don't, and I have no idea what happens in their life. For all I know, he pulls this shit all the time, or she's the one who always has a glass of wine, and he never gets to, etc. etc. Just it's clear the actual annoyance was not with the staff. Am I the a-hole for giving my son a bill for half his expenses? My son, 17, asked me for a new gaming system, and I said no because he already has plenty of gaming systems and games and doesn't need more. If he wants one, he can save up and buy one. He then comes to me with a budget on how we can afford the system. It was mostly just that if I buy nothing for myself for 2 months, we'll have enough for the system. I told him hell no, it's offensive, and if he wants the system he has to save up for it. Then he comes back with another budget. He and his father calculated how much I've been paid in child support over the years, and they decided it would be a good idea to let me know how little a drop in the bucket the gaming system would be. I told him I spend that on his expenses every month, but he didn't believe me, so I told him that if he doesn't think so, he can pay me for his expenses every month and I'll give him the child support. Surprise surprise, when I gave him the bill, it showed that when you factor in all of the things I pay for in a month, it's much more than child support. Child support doesn't even cover 30%. Now my ex is yelling at me for making our son feel like an expensive burden, but I think I was teaching him a lesson about money and unteaching him some of what my ex says about support. Am I the a-hole for giving him a bill? So not the a-hole at all here. The son probably went to the dad asking for the system, and his response was, "Isn't that what I pay child support for?" And that's when the whole "the game system is just a drop in the bucket" conversation started. The father stuck his nose where it didn't belong and got bent out of shape when OP slammed the door shut on it. I know there's all kinds of different reasons for divorce/breakup, but sometimes when I read stories like this I can't help but think, wow, golly gee, I wonder what the reason for the breakup was. Am I the a-hole for walking out after a boss tried to refuse to accept my resignation? I had a boss who was a real turd. He labored under the delusion he was an excellent boss and couldn't put together that his behavior and the crappy pay was why he had such a hard time keeping employees. He also thought it was acceptable to call his female employees hun, sweetie, and sugar. He was a condescending a-wipe who consistently passed over more qualified women for promotions in favor of promoting less qualified men. I had to stay until I could find a better job because I enjoy eating and couldn't afford to leave unless I had something else. I got an interview with a competitor who hired me on making more than I made with him. I turned in my 2 weeks and he said, "Oh sweetie, you know you can't leave." I said I absolutely am leaving. He got the smuggest look on his face and said, "Well, I'm not accepting this, sugar. Guess you're here to stay." I got so furious and decided that was it. I said, "Well, screw this then, I quit." Effective immediately. Called my new job, explained what happened in front of him as he sat there slack-jawed and agreed start the next day. I packed my stuff and left. A former coworker said it was an asshole thing for me to just up and quit on the spot, but if he refused to accept the resignation he could easily have tried to screw me over when my last day did come. My new boss says he deserved it, and I'm not the a-hole for quitting like I did. My boyfriend says he can see how other employees might feel like I was in a hole by making them cover my absence, but sees how I'm not the a-hole for walking out of that toxic environment. So just because I'm curious, I thought I'd ask here. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. 2 weeks' notice is a courtesy that your former boss did not deserve. And that her former boss declined. Factual, she gave 2 weeks, the 2 weeks were declined, so then it was 0 notice. Not the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for making a dad joke? Note: my stepdaughter, Madeline, was about a year old when I married her mother, Jessica. Madeline's father died before she was born. Madeline is currently 15, and she's rebelling for almost everything. She did something bad, so while picking her up, I set a punishment up for her. Then she said, "You're not my dad. I don't have to follow you." Honestly, I got a bit hurt from that. But I understand that she didn't mean it, and that she'd probably change. I just replied, "I'm still your legal guardian for the next 3 years, and as long as you're in my house, you have to follow my rules." That happened about 2 days ago. So our family was going grocery shopping when Madeline said, "I'm hungry. I need food." I decide to be extremely cheeky and say, "Hi, hungry, I'm not your dad." My son just started to laugh uncontrollably. My daughter was just quiet with embarrassment. And my wife was berating me not to stoop down to her level. I honestly thought it was a funny dad joke. And my son agrees. So am I the a-hole? Edit: I did adopt her. So legally I am her parent. Mini update: I'll probably give a full update later, but here is what happened so far. I go to my daughter's room after dinner and begin talking with her. "Hey, I'm really sorry that I hurt you by the words I said. And I am really your dad. I changed your diapers, I met your boyfriend, and I plan on helping you through college. And plus I'm legally your dad, so we're stuck together. But seriously, I'm going to love you like my daughter even if you don't think I'm your dad." Then I hugged her. She did start to cry. I assume that's good. Everyone sucks here, but that was one hell of a joke and I congratulate you for it. Gracias. Since you're not her dad, that joke was more of a faux pas. I am fucking stunned right now, the layers of this joke, I am reeling. Bravo. Honestly, bravo. Share your best a-hole story in the comments. And don't forget, subscribe or I'll insert tiny little pieces of shattered glass directly into your pee hole.